Hey everybody, if you follow this channel, then you know that before I have talked about bad editing, and I find bad editing really fascinating and entertaining because, a good edit is something you don't notice. It enhances your immersion into the world of whatever you're watching. A bad edit is something that when it happens, you go, what? What was that? So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite bad edits of all time. Oddly enough, this worst edit comes from one of the best shows, which is The Sopranos. This bizarre edit from The Sopranos that I'm talking about is none other than the Carmela freeze frame edit from the season 5 episode called Cold Cuts. And I'll be honest, when I was watching this show through for my first time, and I encountered this bizarre edit in this scene, not expecting it at all, I seriously thought I was having a medical issue for like 30 seconds or so. I thought, am I having a stroke? Did my brain just explode? Am I going through a portal into another dimension? Like, what the hell is going on? I had to wave my hands around just to make sure that I was looking at the world in the correct frame rate. So I actually have covered this specific scene before in a previous video on my channel called Strangest Edits in The Sopranos Part 1. What has reignited my interest in this bizarre scene here is the fact that I recently stumbled across this article by Vulture called The Sopranos Swipe, Thawing the Mystery Behind the Series' Most Perplexing Freeze Frame Moment. We're going to have some fun and do a little investigation deep dive. Check out this article and see if it offers us any insights into the origin of this odd editing moment. Before I go into the article, let's once again take a closer look at the edit in question.
Well, that's good. All the best.
Hurts more every time. One more time. So let's just highlight the few bizarre things going on. Carmela says goodbye to this guy, everything is normal, and then about right here, it starts to go into slow motion. So to me, this doesn't look like they actually planned for this to be in slow motion. If I had to guess, this was indeed a post-production decision. If you were going to do slow motion and you wanted it to look really good, you would do something where you shoot at a higher frame rate so it looks super smooth. Like, you ever see those videos of like a bullet going through an apple or something and there weren't enough frames to properly extend this and look smooth. And I swear she gets even slower right there before it goes to a complete freeze frame. She's slightly blurry because she's mid-step. She's got this concerned look on her face. Deep down, she doesn't want to go back to Tony, but she is, and whatever. I mean, it's a good shot. But it's not something I would like hold on a freeze frame for. That's what's visually going on. Let's listen to the audio. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. They put this kind of weird swoosh in the distance, this plate reverb on it, they made her steps get softer and quieter and farther apart until eventually it's just dead silent. It's amazing how this got past everybody. This is the kind of stuff that makes me love editing. Not the good stuff. This stuff. Okay, so the article starts off, it's all just like background stuff, introductory stuff. You got some tweets, people saying, been scratching my head over this one from The Sopranos for years. Has there been a more outrageous transition? That was a weird out of place transition wipe in a Sopranos episode and it's been bothering me, so I googled it and found a support group for it. Oh my god, is that real? Okay, it's not a real support group, it's just a Reddit thread, whatever. One of the greatest questions in Sopranos lore, I need to know exactly why. It's the editing equivalent of introducing a banjo or a saxophone or an accordion. Pretty much, yeah. And then the real meat of the article starts down here. So in his commentary on the season 5 DVD set, Figgis, who is Mike Figgis, the episode's director, remarks upon the cut briefly. That's a really interesting transition, and it wasn't the way I'd expected that scene to look in the end. But he doesn't offer an origin story. Weird. There was no explanation in that paragraph, but let's keep going. So last month, when the perpetual Cold Cuts conversation resurfaced online, I asked Chase, who is David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos, so if anyone should have an idea, it's probably going to be this guy. He said he didn't personally have anything to do with it, though he was happy with the episode overall. He approved the slow-motion freeze-frame wipe in Cold Cuts because Mike, the director, was different. He had his own way of doing things, and by that point, we were in, season 5? By that time, I guess I was willing to look at more stuff. I probably went, oh, thank God, this is a different transition. I don't recall, though. There you have it from the man himself, David Chase, the creative genius behind The Sopranos. His exact quote is, "I don't recall." Okay, well, let's keep going and see if there is an explanation. If Chase still couldn't remember how the Cold Cuts transition happened, maybe Figgis could. He watched Cold Cuts again for the first time in years and consulted his copy of the shooting script before sheepishly admitting he was not much the wiser as to why the transition appears where it does. So the director consulted his notes from that episode he directed and still has no idea. This just gets better. The best he could do was speculate that the combination of slow motion and freeze frame might have been an attempt by the editors to preserve my shot of Carmela walking away from Wegler a little bit longer. But my favorite little line from this paragraph is right here when he says, "might have been an attempt by the editors." So the director is saying, "I don't remember, maybe it was the editors. Wasn't me, it was those guys." Let's read on. "I'd love to take credit for my brilliance in breaking the mold of The Sopranos," Figgis explained, "but I was not the one to break the mold. The editors came up with that. Oh, it was those pesky editors with their slippery little fingers. They made this thing happen." He allowed that maybe there was a conversation that occurred during the editing meeting prior to signing off on the first cut that might have led to the unusual transition, but he concluded, "I don't remember." So there you have it from the director of the episode himself. Wise words. I don't remember. Let's keep reading. Next, I went to Wolinsky, who is Sidney Wolinsky, the show's lead editor. If anybody would know, it's probably this guy. As far as that transition, I can't tell you why we did it that way. So he doesn't know either, okay? It's definitely an odd transition, and from looking at what's there, I don't see why it wouldn't have worked as a straight cut. I'm not sure. I doubt it was written into the episode script because although I don't have a copy of the script for this one, I don't remember anything that visually specific being written into a Sopranos script. As for why we did the freeze frame, I don't know. I love that. From the lead editor of The Sopranos himself, I don't know. This is great. Okay, so my favorite line from this paragraph here is he spoke to his assistant, some unnamed assistant editor, and he also can't remember. So I love the hierarchy of confusion that's going on in this article. So you have David Chase, the creator of the show. He says, "I don't know, maybe it was the episode's director." The director says, "I don't remember, maybe it was the head editor." The lead editor guy goes, "I don't know, maybe it was my assistant." No one knows. This is great. The Sopranos is legendary for leaving some of its biggest questions unanswered. Did Ralphie burn down the stable and whoever did this? What happened to the Russian in Pine Barrens? Did Tony die at the cut to black that ends Made in America? For now, we can add another mystery. How the hell did that transition end up in Cold Cuts? Why on earth are people obsessed with this, do you think? He threw back at me at the end of our conversation. It seems like such a strange thing to wonder about, of all the things. Just one transition in one episode. Oh, but I beg to differ. It's not just one edit in one episode of The Sopranos. To me, this is the bizarre edit in The Sopranos. It just fried my brain the first time and every time I watch it. It's so out of place. So after reading this whole article, the line that resonated most personally with me was this one here. He spoke to his assistant. We never get that guy's name. You know, you got the director, you got the creator of the show, you got the lead editor, but then the guys who are actually in the dark editing rooms all day, clicking and typing in Avid Media Composer or whatever program they were using at the time, we don't hear from those guys. All we get is the lead editor speaking on his behalf, saying he doesn't know. And, you know, that doesn't satisfy me. I need an answer. So I want to hear from people like me, the faceless editors who are actually at the keyboards doing the work. So I went to this episode's IMDb page, scrolled down to full cast and crew, and then scrolled way at the bottom where the editors usually are to the editorial department. These are the people that I want to hear from because one of them knows. One of them actually pushed these buttons and made this infamous Sopranos edit happen. So I drafted up a little letter, and I'm going to do the best I can to try and find these people via LinkedIn or an email or wherever they might be, because I don't know who any of them are. If any of them ever get back, then I'll do a follow-up, a part 2. I'm including in my message that, hey, if you want to name nameless, we don't have to include your name, we don't have to mention anybody, and I even offered if they're interested in doing a Zoom interview. I think that would be awesome, and it would certainly make for a good part 2 and would solve a lot of fans' questions as to how this decades-old bizarro edit happened. That's all I got for today. I just wanted to share this article with you and update you on my little mission to try and contact the people and get to the bottom of my favorite bizarre edit. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, with some information back from one of the post-production assistants. But if not, I'll make some other video. Either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.